everybody, and welcome to another Wild Moments show. My name is Taylor, and of course, you all know Ali. I don't know if she's to the left or right of me on the screen, but we are here to, of course, host you and see some wonderful clips that have happened throughout the week. And of course, a big thank you to explore.org for, I suppose, essentially hosting the entire thing. But we'll just wait a couple of minutes to see if any more people are going to join and watch us. And I hope you've started preparing your questions for us, because we are all very excited. Ali, how has your week been?
It's been great. I must just say, though, to everyone, I'm really sorry if you hear me coughing throughout the show. I will try my best not to do it, but I think I've got some sort of allergy going on, and you know the joys of winter. So you see, there we go.
I like that you did a sort of little trial for us so everybody knows what to expect. But we've got Steve who's joined us this afternoon. You said, hello, Steve from cloudy Clearwater, Florida. Hope everybody is having a good week. I hope so too. And Jasmine, yes, you said, yay, Ali and Taylor, my favorites. I added the my favorites part in, obviously. You never know.
Well done.
So yeah, thank you. I try. But I know that Ali and I are very excited because there are some interesting things that were seen on the cameras over the last couple of weeks. Not last week's week, just with one, no S's. So Jasmine, you've said Arizona here and 20 days over 112 Fahrenheit. Oh my gosh. I don't know what temperature that is. 112 Fahrenheit. So what's that, like high 30s or mid 30s? Isn't it? Maybe a bit more.
Even. Yeah.
My math's not very good.
Very hot.
I can talk nonsense about wildlife things, but I'm not a fan of maths. That's incredibly warm. We've also had some really warm days in Hoedspruit because that's sort of, this is the area that Ali and I live in. And we had a couple of cold spells. We're in winter, but every single day for us is still anywhere between 22 and I'd say about 27 degrees Celsius, which is a very mild winter. I think the coldest temperature it dropped to was about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. It hasn't been that chilly.
I didn't enjoy it when it was that cold.
In terms of Ali's coldness, that was probably equivalent of -2 degrees Celsius. Exactly. I was wearing beanies though, so yeah.
Well, you know.
Oh, wow. Okay, their cursed is just... Oh, no, not cursed. Jasmine, someone has just said it's 44 degrees Celsius. 112 Fahrenheit equals 44 degrees Celsius. That's kind of how hot it gets. Sure, but further north of Hoedspruit, but we do experience temperatures of over 40 degrees in summer. Is it Dia? D, my apologies. Good morning from a sunny Chicago. You're grinning, you're smiling from ear to ear, and you have your coffee ready. I have nothing again. I was underprepared. If you must know, I've actually been standing trying with a lint roller, trying to get all the dog hair off of my black coat, which I'm quite upset about. If anyone's got any tips of the best lint roller, please let me know, because the one I'm using is terrible. Not impressed. Okay. Rolling Trouble, you've jumped on as well from Washington State. Good to have you. Always good to have you. And then I think I'm just trying to see. Let's do one more minute and see if anybody else jumps in. Maybe everyone's just shy to comment and say hello today. We promise Ali and I don't bite, because we can't, because we're behind a screen. So you're lucky.
But in real life, would we bite people?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm undecided. I'm not anything in case I decide that I'm going to start biting people. I'm vaccinated, so you can't get rabies, so that's always good. Only teasing. Jan Powers, welcome. You said it's also very hot in, where's here in AZ? What's AZ? Arizona again? I'm assuming.
I would imagine.
No? Yeah.
That would be my bet.
And then Durrell, happy Thursday. Yes. You said Java in hand and waiting for those wild moments. Wonderful. Okay, cool. I think it's time to get going. What do you think, Ali?
I think let's hit it. Let's see the very first clip. So I think it might be an exciting one.
Ooh, what have we here?
I actually get quite upset when the cameras show things that, to me are not real because I've never seen them
So
in
for
the
those of
wild.
you, yeah, exactly. For those of you who've never seen this creature before, it's not a skunk. It is a zorilla or a striped polecat, and this is from the Tembe cat in KwaZulu-Natal, so all the way to the east coast of South Africa, quite far north as well. And like Ali said, we very, very rarely get to see them, and it's just digging away, looking for all sorts of delicious things to eat.
They're such beautiful little creatures, but again, I put them in the line of mythical creatures like the pangolins and the aardwolves and the aardvarks to an extent. I think I've been far luckier with pangolins in the wild than what I have been with striped polecats. I've never seen one ever. I'm not sure I would even recognize one in the wild, and I saw it, I would be in so much shock.
Well, Ali, I think you're not the only one out there because, I mean, they've really only studied striped polecats in captivity. There is so little known about these wild individuals. So these cameras that are popping up all over Africa, and a big thank you, of course, to Africam for this opportunity. It is allowing us to view them and not disturbing them because obviously they're quite secretive creatures. They hear a vehicle or people and probably run for their lives. Because I've only ever seen them once in Kenya in the Masai Mara, and it was a brief sighting. And every single time I try and hunt for information on striped polecats, they really just revert back to things that have happened in captivity. So not unusual to see one little striped polecat on its own, although that looked very much like an adult. They are typically quite solitary, but in captivity, they've seen them living in family groups. However, whether that happens out in the wild, I don't know. I think they probably spend a lot of time on their own, and maybe you'll see a female with some youngsters at a den site. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think first of all, we don't know a lot about this animal in the wild, so they could have some sort of general associations with other ones, but until there's like a more, and I haven't found it a formal study of what they do in the wild, then it'll be hard to say. Because also in captivity, it could be maybe they just have to socialize with other striped polecats, so their behaviors change because they have nowhere else to go, so they have no option, and they become more tolerant, I should say, of one another. But it's always interesting because I mean, even now it's funny because you read up on things, and we have, and I'm sure Taylor, you've got the same behavioral mammal guidebook as I do, which is Estes, because we all have it. Because I mean, it used to be the Bible for a long time, but there are studies of individual mammals that come out throughout the year because people specialize, particularly things that are rare, like a striped polecat. That everything we thought was true about this animal, then you read about it, and 20 years later, you're like, oh, actually, that was wrong.
Exactly. So if any of you know anybody studying striped polecats, let us know. Definitely want to get in touch and find out some more information. And it's a new animal for Jasmine as well. So it's not the first time that we've seen a striped polecat at Tembe Elephant Park. So hopefully we'll get to see them quite regularly. Perhaps this one does have its, I don't know, I'm assuming they must be territorial because from what I've read, it seems as though the males and females don't really socialize with one another. Just kind of during breeding season, which makes sense. That happens with a lot of animals. So perhaps this individual is resident close by to the camera, and we'll be able to all learn together. So Tim, you've actually asked, does it spray like a skunk? Ali?
I have no idea.
No, so they do. Not like, I don't know if it's the same chemical that they're spraying as a skunk, but they do release a liquid at quite a rapid rate, which I'd not enjoy to kind of be behind. So they've got anal glands. They're in the family Mustelidae. So most of the individuals in that family have got anal glands, and they'll either make some kind of secretion, or they will be able to spray and use it as a sort of chemical defense of some kind.
Mhm.
And
And
then we have,
it really does
yes,
stink. Because the one I can only refer back to honey badgers, because that's my first-hand experience with this particular family of critters. Let's call them that. But the honey badgers, and most of them, they don't spray. They just release this content from their anal glands. And you will smell it from a mile away. Like there is no doubt. It's a very pungent smell, very, very hard. Same as I would imagine that's kind of what a
Yeah,
striped polecat smells like, that you'll know it's there.
yeah, definitely. And then Kim, you've asked, how would we know it's the same polecat? Well, now we've got to get creative. I have absolutely no idea. I wouldn't even know where to start. I think we could obviously ask the interweb, but I think the markings are quite uniform. Honestly, I think that actually even looks like it's a male. I'm just looking there very quickly as it lifted its tail. I don't know if you saw that sort of. There's a slightly different coloration, like potentially the scrotum, unless I was seeing things. Yeah, look there. You see,
I mean, it
I would
does kind
almost
of look
want to
like
say
it.
that. Yeah. So again, we're not 100% sure, but that to me looks like a scrotum. So I would go with it being a male. Maybe we all need to scour the interweb, and perhaps we'd have to use the images captured of striped polecats in the wild and see if they do have any, marking differences. Again, the usual. If it has a missing ear and nick in its ear, maybe the tip of its tail is gone or something like that. Any obvious markings or injuries, that's going to be helpful. But from what I've seen in pictures, it's quite uniform. But let's do a bit of digging. Let's do a bit of research, and I suspect we'll see this individual again digging around here, looking for all sorts of scorpions or any other predators, prey species. That likes to burrow under the ground. And then, yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Looks like it's got two prominent spots on its tail on the right hand side. I don't know if it's maybe a stripe and it's just the way that it's angled. What do you think, Ellie? Do you think those are two spots?
They do look like spots. I mean, it could, I would call them spots, but it also, I suppose, would depend on how he presents his tail. Because if the skin is very roughed up, or like not the skin, the fur, then things might appear a certain way. And then as soon as you sort of it smooth itself out like that, and then it's a different angle, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe there are no spots there.
yeah. So I think if
But it did
we
look like
do a
spots
bit
on
of
the other side.
yeah,
Just like
so I think if we
squinting,
can
trying to
capture
look
some
closer.
images from that striped polecat and we just keep them as reference, and then yeah. I'll also have a look. I'll have a look at the internet and kind of see what it says. Anyways, exciting times, a new species to follow. Who knows? Maybe we witness some groundbreaking behavior that's never been seen before. Right. I think it's time to jump over to the next clip and see what we've got. There's a giraffe. Oh, this is an interesting scene.
And they look quite old, don't they? Oh, okay. One of them
Oh,
might be going for a very optimistic meal.
oh goodness. Off the giraffe goes. Terrified. Just imagine the confidence boost that that young lion has just received.
Look, Mom, I can chase giraffe.
Mom's going over, going, come back here, that thing can kill you.
Maybe just wants to have, play and thought maybe the giraffe would play with it because clearly the family doesn't want to.
Absolutely. I think we've definitely seen different species that we would never think playing, well, trying to initiate play. So I think anything's game when you are a young lion, just like that, having a bit of fun. Oh, that was such a lovely clip. Obviously, luckily for the giraffe, not coming down to drink and dashing off. So this clip was filmed in Kenya and at the Eldonyo Cam in Amboseli. It is Amboseli, hey? I haven't made that up because sometimes I mix places up. I did that today, and I was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound right." So quite a different wilderness area, and obviously with the prides of lions, there they'll hunt all sorts of things. But if you can become a giraffe hunting specialist, well, that takes a lot of skill, but also high risk, high reward. So maybe one day that young cub will make another move on a giraffe when it's a bit bigger.
They can. I mean, it
What do you
does
think?
happen. They've got to start somewhere. Although,
We do have to.
one lion to one giraffe, I do think, doesn't matter the size of the lion, is still on the optimistic side of life.
There's that amazing documentary. It was filmed. I actually don't even know how many years it was filmed ago. Maybe like 10 or 15 years ago. Probably more like 15 years ago. The
Hmm.
the lions. It's in the Kalahari. The lions of the
Yeah, I
Kalahari that
think so.
specialize in giraffe. And I just will never forget. There's this one scene of this sort of giraffe like charging down sort of a slippery slope with like loose rocks, and this lioness, she's just waiting just in front of it, and she launches out and she tries to grab the giraffe from the front. She's not successful, but she has been successful many times before. But really, it's quite a dangerous thing. It's one thing hunting buffalo, and of course we know how formidable those animals are. They don't have the name Black Death for no reason. So yeah, quite a tricky thing. Oh, we've got a couple more people joining. We've got Bill, who's joined from Carolina. Why did I say California? Which is great. And then Stuck in Bed, you said, "Hi, girls. Hey, we're here." And we're excited that you've managed to join us. Hopefully, you aren't still stuck in bed. Oh, um, so my Ali, you might have to read the questions because my
Your
Skype account
computer,
has just no, my Skype
okay.
account's just told me it's just like no. It's just disappeared and I won't let me log in. It's telling me I need to buy a subscription. I don't want to buy a subscription. I hardly use it.
That's unlucky, but there aren't any more questions or anything that I can see that you haven't already covered. So at least it was good timing.
That was good timing. Shall we go and have a look at the next clip then? Why is this happening? I'm
Yeah,
going to try to
maybe
figure out
maybe
Skype.
your Skype will come back. You never know. Oh, hello, little water mongoose. Is it a
Oh,
water mongoose? Looks
wow.
like a water mongoose. Very wet.
Oh,
Oh
no.
no, it's a white-tailed mongoose. That's wet.
Mongoose.
Completely different
Was,
location. My bad. This is at Nkoro, so it's definitely a white-tailed mongoose. I thought maybe we were in
was that a,
Kimberley or something.
was that a side-striped jackal? Or was it a black? No, it's a side-striped.
Turn around, little jackal.
Turn to the left or
It's
right.
amazing to see them next to one another because then you get an idea of how big a white-tailed mongoose actually is. Whoop.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
wow. That was
Alrighty.
unexpected.
That
That
was
was so
feisty.
cool. That was really feisty. Honestly, I did not think that that scene was going to play out like that. It's still quite amazing that the two of them sort of bop noses,
I'm shocked.
you know, investigating around. That jackal must be so interested in the scent of that of the white-tailed mongoose. But I did not expect the mongoose to be still being a slightly better carnivore, not taking in chances and just acting upon so being quite proactive about the situation.
That is so amazing. That was actually great. I mean, I suppose also the element of surprise. I think the jackal probably didn't see it coming either. That's why
Yeah.
it got a fright and run away.
I like that the impala was standing there observing as well. So that was at in Coral in the Asabi Sand Game Reserve. That camera gets so much action. I enjoyed that. It's really awesome. I really need to start recording, like writing down all the different types of these interactions. But like that one wasn't a super aggressive one, and I think we always think that animals like leave each other alone. We need to have a show called The Secret Life of animals
Of
that interact
everything.
with one another. Yeah, of everything really. But I would not have expected those two creatures to kind of cross paths and sort of interact with one another.
No, not at all. Well, if seeing your Skype is dead, there is a comment, well, a question by Kim Hai saying, "Wouldn't a jackal eat a mongoose?" So I think maybe not a white-tailed mongoose, although if opportunity presents itself and the white-tailed mongoose is actually injured, I don't see it not happening with the jackal. But I would imagine, if anything, and they don't actively hunt mongoose as one of their main prey species. I wouldn't say that, that mongoose are
Yeah.
particularly tasty for jackals, but they do. I mean, they are predators. If the food is readily available and opportunity presents itself, then I wouldn't put it past them. I have witnessed, and I don't know, Taylor, if it's your experience, most of the sort of predators, and I'm talking from sort of like lions to actually lions only ones, but mainly leopards. They hunt the mongoose, but they don't seem to enjoy eating them because they'll take a few bites and then they just kind of leave it and then they just move away. So I wonder if it's a taste thing
Yeah.
or just a personal preference. Maybe some leopards don't really like it. Maybe some other creatures actually don't even like it either. So I don't know. It would be interesting to know.
I also think it depends on the desperation level of a predator. If we just look at something that we've seen quite regularly, young leopards that are dispersing and not catching, ideal prey species, impala, steenbok, duiker, whatever it may be, and them resorting to feeding on terrapins and snakes and frogs. Like we've seen them munching on trying to get into foam nest, frog nests, and that can't taste very nice. And then as soon as they become more capable in the wild, then they'll take something a bit more preferable. So I kind of agree with you. I think unless it's like completely desperate, I highly doubt that a jackal will eat a mongoose, especially a mongoose of that size. And
Yeah.
then the dwarf species, which are much smaller and potentially easier, but they're going to be tucked away in a burrow of some kind, which might not be accessible to the jackals.
Yeah, I think
My
the
Skype is
difference would be, yeah, I think the difference would be that if they could, they would eat it, but they wouldn't hunt it actively, like as one of their main food sources. I just gonna run through the comment from Stuck in Bed who says, "Wow, yeah, we were also very shocked about this." And then JJ, you are wondering if side-striped jackals are more relaxed than blackback. I can't say that I've experienced one species to be more relaxed than the other one. For me, it's just a matter of if they get enough exposure to people in the area that they're in. But I don't know if you've had a different experience with a particular species. Sometimes you'll get one species in one area and far fewer of the other one. So, for example, in the Sabi Sanad and Koro, where this clip was taken, they actually had to do a big black-backed jackal reintroduction project because there was a rabies outbreak, and then they had mainly the striped ones and not the black ones. And then, they can both sort of coexist in the same environment. So I think for me, it's just exposure to people. If the jackals are exposed to people or to game viewers and so on, they'll be more relaxed. But if they're not, then they're gonna run away independently. If they're females, if they're size stripes or black bags.
Yeah, I also kind of agree with you. JJ, it could be obviously either or. Are you talking about like relax with like at least describe the vehicles, or are you talking about just like in general? Are they like side strap, like more placid than blackback? To be honest, I don't think I've ever seen more than one side striped jackal feeding on a carcass, whereas with blackback jackal, you see like quite a few of them all coming together, and then there's quite a bit of aggression between the individuals when feeding on a carcass, but obviously quite typical around food. But especially if they're individuals, that's not part of the family, of jackals that may be there first. Maybe if it's another individual, then they are not so keen. So yeah, quite interesting. And then I see that there is a question from Stuck in Bed or not a question, a statement rather, that mongoose is way bigger than I thought. Offhand, I can't think of the weight of a white-tailed mongoose, but I don't know if you also noticed of the white-tailed mongoose. Did you see how it erected all its hair? And look, you'll see that. So we call that like, well, Ali, you're Latin. Is it philo-erection or pilo-erection? I say
Philo.
philo-erection.
Philo.
A pilo. I've been saying it wrong my whole
Yes.
life, but story of my life. But you'll see, look how it kind of erects its hair slightly to make itself look bigger. They do have very puffy tails, but they are able to sort of control that hair moving up and down. It's interesting, but they do. I mean, it's the largest species of mongoose that we do see. So not surprising. I don't know. I have to quickly just double check what's the weight of a white-tailed mongoose.
But it's probably, I would imagine it's probably in the line between 10 to 15 kilograms or so.
Yep, that's
Probably
rather
somewhere
large.
around there.
Up
But
to
it's
5 kg.
up to 5,
Only 5?
25.
Yeah. No, 5. Just
Wow,
5.
it's too high.
I'm honestly,
25 and all that. That's a massive thing.
that is, can you imagine? I'd be terrified. I'd not be spending too much time. And then the side strap jackals can get up to about 14 kilos. So but maybe that was even a young side-striped jackal, like, not a
Because the size
or
difference.
with the camera.
No, that was pretty cool to watch though, and it's that I know a few comments came through, and it was just seeing them because I've never seen them together, I've never seen them interact, but I've seen them separately, and I wouldn't have put them in the same sort of sizing. I still would have assumed that the jackal was slightly larger than the mongoose, but here we go, learn something new every day.
Yeah, exactly. We live and learn. I think we have time for one more clip because Ali and I are so good at talking. We represent South Africa in the world champs for talking. That's how good we are. We don't, but if it was a thing, we would. Oh, a hippo in the background.
Is that another jackal? Oh, they're sweet,
Oh,
running
it's
around.
cute. Oh, that's hysterical.
It's actually so sweet seeing wild animals when they're little and they enjoy just playing around and just goofing around.
Absolutely. I like that they're using the mound to sort of put something between them. I'm assuming that the den site must be close by. It's hard to tell if they're youngsters or if they're adults. The waterbuck don't really seem to be, and the impala don't seem to be too perturbed about them running around. But then they're still at it. Oh, that's so lovely.
Going for miles.
Yeah, just carrying on. So it could be a number of things. I mean, it could be a male and a female, I suppose, courting, chasing one another, but like that's very playful behavior. Perhaps it is two youngsters that are
Yeah.
venturing away from the den and just wanting to get rid of some energy and obviously it's super important for bonding with animals that are more social or live in family groups.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looked like they were playing. It just there didn't seem to be any funny business, nobody chasing around anyone else. They're just having fun. Why not? They just
Just have
like my
fun.
puppy that enjoys playing and running around at 2 o'clock in the morning like a hooligan. It's the same thing.
Hmm.
I can relate.
No, absolutely. Puero, the cat.
Oh God. You know,
Ah,
I can't.
there is one more. Should we try squeeze in the last clip? That'll be unbelievable. I don't think we've actually ever watched all the clips before. Now that I
Let's
think
do
about
it.
it. Oh
Oh,
wow,
well,
that's
hello,
a
giraffe.
giraffe.
Very appropriate.
That's so close. I almost thought I had to zoom out of my screen.
It's so funny. It's so
I
puzzled.
too. Oh my gosh, this is such an interesting view. Oh wow, you have to look up at the giraffe. Very cool.
It's nice that you can hear it also when it stomps on the ground.
Absolutely. I wonder what must be going through this giraffe's mind.
I was like, what is that white thing and why is it still looking at me? Is it another giraffe?
Literally. I suppose it's something that they've got to get used to. Uh, I've had a few guests ask me some really like some of my favorite questions, but predominantly in Zambia, where you get the white-browed sparrow weavers, which is a type of bird that makes an incredibly messy nest. And sometimes you'll see them on like sort of dead trees, and it almost looks like somebody has intentionally put like a ball of hay into that tree. And I've had on a number of different occasions while working in the Lozambizi National Park where people have said, are you feeding the giraffe? Like, are you just perfectly placing and I was like, no, firstly, there
That's
aren't any giraffe in the Lozambizi Valley. However, no, they also don't eat grass. So,
that's very
but
funny. I suppose it's also interesting for the giraffe because it might be one of the few things that it sees eye to eye out there in the bush, that it's not a tree.
no, absolutely. That was quite interesting. Who knows? Maybe we're going to get more and more encounters like that with giraffe as they start to become accustomed to the camera. But that is all the time that we have for you today on Wild Moments. And of course, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining, Ali, and of course, thank you to all of you for participating and sending us wonderful questions. We will, of course, be doing this all again very soon. So from myself and Ali, we thank you, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend, because that's also coming soon. Bye.
Indeed. Bye.